I was closer than booty cheeks to titling this video something like, "The gun the internet hates," but it looks like someone beat me to it. I can hear it already. Classic Army copied the G&G ARP9. Look at the stock, look at the muzzle device, look at my collection of G&G stuff. G&G condoms! I've seen the comments about this gun. Damn near everyone in my Tia Rosa has seen the comments about this gun. Even the guys at G&G and Classic Army joke back and forth about each other copying one another's products. This right here is the topic for this review. The brand new Classic Army Nemesis X9. The gun that's not the ARP9 because, you know, more than one freaking 9mm AR exists. I can see the resemblance though, but don't hate this gun just because you're a fan of G&G like me, because then it's going to sound like you don't want Classic Army to be good or something. Today I'll be going over this new release thanks to Airsoft GI, who sent me this X9 before anyone else was able to get one for themselves. Airsoft GI is also the place where you can get one of these right now for $290 with the links provided in the description. Big thanks to Classic Army, by the way, for approving of this review just before the X9s became available. However, with all that said and done, let's kick this review off where we always begin with the unboxing. So here's the box. If you've seen any of my other Classic Army unboxings, then you'd know what's included inside. You'll of course get this black rifle bag, which I love to see included in these boxes. This bag can fit the X9 easily or even an M249, so that's a good way to start, especially for the newer players without any cases or gun bags available to them yet. Next, before I got to the bag, I saw this sticky note saying that the X9 should chrono at about 330 to 350 feet per second, but we'll take a look at that later in this video. Taking a sheet of styrofoam away, we can now see the X9 and its 120 round polymer mid-cap magazine with the small and jamming / cleaning rod underneath the X9. And that's it. That's a simple unboxing. I didn't even get any paperwork in this box, but then again, this one is kinda still a pre-sample, so no paperwork in the box really doesn't bother me, but in the public release, you should be getting at least a manual. Alright now, so let's get onto the gun itself, the Classic Army Nemesis X9. We begin our in-depth look at this nearly 5-pound PDW at the very front of the metal amplifier type flash hider, which sits on standard 14mm counterclockwise threads at the end of a metal barrel. Around this compact barrel, we have a metal M-LOK rail. Of course, this rail is pretty small, so you'll want to choose your attachments wisely, unless you can utilize the standard Picatinny rail to your advantage. May I suggest a small vertical grip below, with a flashlight up top for those close quarters games. On the top rail, we have the same pair of metal flip-up sights that can be found on other Nemesis rifles. These flip-up sights stay in place unless you push in this button and manually push the sights back down. When deployed, these sights are very clear, and the rear sight bears an optional aperture sight that can be adjusted for windage, while the front sight is adjustable for elevation. But if you don't like these sights at all, then just remove them with a flathead screwdriver and replace them with whatever you like from there. Moving all the way back, the Classic Army X9 features a metal skeletonized PDW style stock. The metal material also makes up the butt pad, where I'd actually like to have seen some rubber coating or something else for grip, but that's my own opinion shining through. To adjust the stock's length, simply push in this lever upward and pull the stock back. But you only get two choices for length. The stock is either opened or closed. However, when closed, this gun is quite small at about 20 inches from stock to the end of the muzzle device, and when opened, the X9 is about 23 inches long. Take a look at the stock's release lever, however, and you'll find the rear sling loop just in front of it. You only have this rear sling loop, so I hope that's all you'll need. The real magic begins with the battery storage, which I'll have to say is better than what I found with the ARP9, the Crytac Vector, and the older Nemesis rifles. Just open the stock, pull up on this tab on the back of the buffer tube's cap, and lift up to remove this plastic panel. From here we can see probably the largest space for batteries when it comes to PDW style rifles. Like this 11.1 battery just goes right in, like a not so well endowed man does. And I have a lot of room to place the wires, so I can put the panel right back on and just be about on my way. Definitely a pro when it comes to the X9, which continues with the electronic control system trigger and the MOSFET inside the X9. Just like the Nemesis rifles I went over a while back, the ECS and MOSFET inside this gun is pretty damn amazing, and it can handle batteries all the way up to 20C, so it's already ahead of the Amoeba series right away. I'm trying to be as honest as possible here. Having the ability to change the selections you are given within a matter of a few seconds is awesome, and it's a great power to have, that not many other people can pull off as quickly as you can. Don't like semi and full auto? Then just pull the trigger for 5 seconds until you hear the gun chirp, and just keep cycling through the selections by pulling the trigger again and again until you find your desired selection. I normally set these guns to semi and 3-round burst, but you can choose semi-semi, 3-round burst full auto, 5-round burst full auto, and you can just choose normal semi and full auto. But one thing that I discovered that even a rep from Classic Army didn't know about was that you can't just go through all the selections over and over again. Once you get back to semi-full auto, you'll have to choose a selection by turning the selector switch to full auto before you can go back to semi to change the selections again. That's kind of strange and really annoying, so if you get one of these, then now you know what to do. Oh, and by the way, the trigger is flat, so yay! Next, for those techs out there, the X9 does carry along the quick access motor grip, which should make a few fixes easier to pull off. Moving on to the billet style CNC'd aluminum receiver, we have ambidextrous fire selector switches, while the magazine release can only be found on the right side. This and the functioning bolt release are the only controls that are not ambidextrous on this gun, as the charging handle can be used on either side to reveal the rotary style hop-up adjuster. To hold the mock bolt open, I'd advise to hit the bolt release down to lock the bolt back as you pull the charging handle so you can adjust the hop-up easier. All this works fine and I had no problems. I even like that the dust cover has the American flag facing the right way this time, unlike the old Nemesis rifles. But I'd still like for the dust cover to actually go in place and stay in place, but that's probably just me nagging again. Looking for stuff to hate when it comes to the Nemesis line, or the X9 in particular, is actually kinda hard. I would have liked to see the magazine release on both sides of the gun, and to have the option to use Deans with this gun straight away like other Classic Army rifles, but that's really all I can really think of. Even then, with Dean's connections already connected to the wires, that would mean less room in the buffer tube for a small type connected battery. Unless you did some mods. Everything about this gun is pretty practical. Like, even though the ARP9 is polymer, which makes it lighter than the X9, this gun is full metal. So if you like that trade-off, then it's all good. Both rifles are truly great guns. I don't want this review to sound like I'm bashing G&G for anything. I love the ARP9, I really love the ARP556, and so far, I love the X9. I'm not even the M4 type of person, as I like more unique and classic replicas, but this is still something that I want in my collection. Mag releases are easy and fun to do if you get a little creative, since the release is easy to hit and even pops the magazine out a bit on its own. The build material is pretty great for the price paid, trigger responses are fast, making this a strong contender for CQB, especially since with 0.2 gram BBs at the chronograph, I was getting sub CQB readings. That's where a gun like this would really shine anyway, so if this gun shot any higher than 350 feet per second, then I'd say look somewhere else for your CQB choice. Even at range, the Classic Army X9 passed my expectations for a gun with such a small inner barrel. 150-foot shots with 0.28 gram BBs with this gun were just pretty easy to make, and Airsoft GI even claimed 70 yards with 25 gram BBs, and with the 6.03 inner barrel the X9 is equipped with, I think that's pretty great, and I think some people don't like that very much, as you can see by these comments. But they're probably just joking anyway. Truly, the X9 right now is the kind of gun that people want to hate but can't really come up with a real reason to. Maybe the G&G love is just too strong. I get it, but you're wrong, just saying. The looks are pretty uncanny though. I do find it pretty funny that the Classic Army mags will actually fit in the ARP9, but the reverse can't happen for the X9. So you can't just get ARP9 magazines and put one in an X9. And the fact that it can take the X9 upper and swap it for another Nemesis upper is pretty dope. Also inside we have low resistance wiring, a quick chain spring system, a reinforced 9mm bearing gearbox, 9mm bushings with a full metal rack tooth piston, CNC steel cut gears, and a 31K high performance motor just to add more fire to the pros that the X9 bears. I also hear that Classic Army has a drum magazine in the thought process, but they're not all too sure about it. They also have high cap magazines that they're thinking about, but they like the mid caps more, and I share that preference as well. What I'd probably improve on this gun if I had the power to would be to add ambi magazine releases. I'd put some rails in the box for the customer. I'd probably enlarge the selector switches and the bolt release, and even like the option to buy some low cap short magazines for the X9 so the rifle can get even smaller. Honestly, if I could get the blue X9 with a pack of mid caps, then I'd be pretty happy about that. So for the close quarters player, I would definitely recommend the Classic Army X9. You get the fast trigger responses with a fairly small PDW, while the battery storage is rather big for what it is, and if you already have an ARP9, then you would have no need to get more magazines for the ARP as long as you have X9 magazines. Even in the field, I found this gun to be very viable, and a lot of players wanted to try this out for themselves. So for my final conclusion, I'll say that the Classic Army X9 may be wrapped in a lot of controversy. However, that has not affected my personal opinions of this replica as I try to pay attention to practicality, the performance, and try to ignore the overhype and biased opinions over another gun. Performance-wise, this gun worked great for me. The range was great, the rate of fire was fair, the uniqueness of this platform is nice, and the options for colors are pretty refreshing, honestly. Almost to the point where getting a standard black X9 is not my default pick anymore. I'd really like to hear what you guys think about the X9 though. Classic Army is always trying to one-up themselves to make better products, so I want to see those comments about what you think about the X9 down below. I've been thoroughly impressed during this review, and I want that to continue as I review other Classic Army products. Watch, now they'll never send me anything that they think I'll really hate. But I hope you guys liked my review over the X9. Be sure to check out all my links down below in the description if you're interested in picking up one of these for yourselves, or ask any questions you may have in the comments down below. I have so much more to review and more gameplay to edit up, not to mention that huge loadout countdown that I haven't even had any time to edit up. Then I'm being told that $3,000 worth of Airsoft GI stuff might be sent my way, so that's pretty awesome. That just means another massive unboxing is coming along. Anyways though, I hope you enjoyed this review, but until that next video drops from the city of San Antonio, this has been Scott Hollenbeck, and I'll be sure to see you all next time. And the magazine just comes out super easily. It barely makes a click when you put the magazine in, but it's not like it's going anywhere, you know? That's a really good trigger to me.